Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Listening Game Podcast. This is episode number 5. It's been quite a while since I've done an episode of the podcast. Just various other priorities have been popping up, and I had not really been making it a priority. But now in 2016, things are changing. I'm making music and all music-related projects more of a priority than they had already been. And hopefully we'll get a few more episodes of the podcast out of that, as well as new content on the website and a couple of other projects that I have in the works. So for this project, or for this podcast rather, I did something a little bit different than we've done before. I went down to San Jose to a club called the Rock Bar and interviewed a band known as the Jean Genies. They are a David Bowie tribute band. As you probably already know, David Bowie passed away a couple of weeks ago. I myself am a huge, long-time Bowie fan. I saw him live, I think, about 5 times. I've got 12 or 13 framed photos of him hanging up all throughout my apartment. So when he passed away, it was a really, really big, crushing blow. I saw that the Jean Genies had a show scheduled coincidentally for about a week and a half later. So I met up with some friends, went down to the club, and caught the show. The Jean Genies were kind enough to get me an interview and agree to talk on the podcast. I cannot say enough nice things about this band. Not only did they put on a great show, they were just really, really kind and generous with all of their time. They let me ask them whatever questions I had about the forming of the band, about the kind of gear they use, how David Bowie's death has affected the band and them personally. And we had a really neat conversation back in the green room at their show. While I was talking to them, Joe, the drummer, had a really, really profound statement about how people often associate with bands and artists that we don't know personally, but we're still very affected by their deaths. And when they leave us, it feels a lot like a personal connection or a family member has actually died. And I really just kind of thought those statements resonated really well, and as well as many other things that the band said in the interview. It was just a great time talking to those guys. I cannot say enough nice things about the Jean Genies. So thank you very much to all of them for not only the interview, but also after the interview, they were kind enough to let me go on stage and check out all of the gear that they use to cover 40 plus years worth of David Bowie songs, how they get sounds from Lazarus all the way back to Space Oddity and everything in between. I talked to several of the members, going over in pretty good detail all the different gear that they use for their shows. It was really kind of fascinating for me. And so I just wanted to say thank you again to those guys for letting me do all of that. You'll hear in the podcast, the first part of the interview is done in the green room. There's a hum noise in the background you'll hear in that. Sorry about that. We're in the green room, and next to us was this little space heater to keep everything warm while the band was getting ready. I did what I could to sort of EQ that out, but it was like 1.5 feet away from where I was sitting. There's not a whole lot I can do about it. Hopefully you can still hear everything okay. And then, of course, when we're on stage talking about their guitars and amps and things like that, there's a little bit of background chatter where you can hear people bustling about in the club getting ready for the show and that sort of thing. Hopefully everything in that part is also clear enough for you to check out. The interviews ran pretty quick, back to back. We talked to Andrea first, walked over to the other side of the stage, and we talked to Mike about playing guitar. I believe the next interview you'll hear in there is Jeff Y., who talked about his bass rig and everything involving that. Jeff and I ended up kind of going way off topic for quite a while there. It turned out we knew several of the same people around the Sacramento music community. So we had kind of a neat little sidebar conversation about that. I left that in the interview as well, just because I found it really fascinating that 100 miles away from Sacramento, I met this band, and it turned out about half the guys in the band actually had Sacramento connections in one way or another. And it was really neat kind of seeing not only that we were bonding over this David Bowie, fandom that we both have, but also turned out several of them knew several of the people I'm friends with in Sacramento, and back and forth like that. It was just it was a good conversation overall. And then the last interview you'll hear on the tape is with Jameson, the saxophone player, who has the most elaborate saxophone rig I've ever seen from any band in my life. I'll get pictures of all the gear that the band uses. I'll get pictures of that up on the website along with this podcast, so you can kind of follow along in the photos to see what the pedals are that they're talking about and how the amps are configured and everything like that. So I hope you all enjoy the podcast. Thank you again to the Jean Genies for everything. That was a great time. I can't wait to check out the band again, and enjoy the show. So I'm backstage at the Rock Bar in San Jose talking to the Jean Genies, a David Bowie tribute band. Everybody's here. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. I actually saw you guys play a year ago at the Blue Lamp in Sacramento.
Wow.
And that was I was at that show.
Record Sunday.
That,
Roderick show, yeah.
Say it again?
Roderick. Do you know Roderick?
I don't know Roderick.
Yeah. But that was part of Record Store Day or something like that?
No, it's just... It was part of anything.
It was this thing where they booked us to play, and we went.
Oh,
Yeah, you played there. You
Wow.
were wearing all that red over there.
That's...
I remember,
That I wore...
Yeah, that was a year ago.
Just about a year. I think it was about a year ago exactly.
Almost to the day.
And I think you guys were the first tribute band I'd seen live at that point too. I've
Really?
seen
It's a
cover
tribute
bands,
band.
but
Wow.
the first band doing a whole set of one band, I think it was for you guys, and then Strange Love played the night after in San Francisco, and I drove down and checked that out. And
That's great.
and
How old are you?
I'm 40.
Wow, you
So-
look young.
Oh, thank you, I appreciate that. But enough about me. So how did
Lips are burning.
how did you guys start this band? If you guys were how did the band start?
Originally I was with one of our original guitarists, Phil Ramsey, who's in a number of bands as well. We were toying with this idea of playing music from the '70s, playing some Alice Cooper, some David Bowie, T-Rex, and getting that going. Then we thought, oh, wouldn't it be great to have an Alice Cooper band and a David Bowie band. So one night I was out with Jeff, who plays bass, and Joe, who plays drums. We were over at the 12 Galaxies, and Joe was talking about how much he loved the show by David Bowie called the 1980 Floor Show, which was on something called the Midnight Special, and it was Wolfman Jack,
Okay.
who would often MC these. Yeah, and so. And I've known Joe for a long time. He was in a band called Thin White Rope, and he was.
That's why you look familiar. Okay.
Yeah.
I was watching you at soundcheck. I'm like, why do I know that face from something?
He was
And
also in the Loud family.
I'm friends with Anton Barbeau, who knows Scott and or knew Scott and.
We recorded with him at Abbey Road last summer.
Okay, nice. I see him when he comes through town here and there, and I've been in Germany a couple of times, but on the other side of Germany from where Anton now lives. So I'll Facebook and go, I'm in Germany, but I'm like 9 hours from you. I hope you're doing good. And that's as far as that ever gets. And
He's a very good person.
yeah, he is. Okay, I was watching you guys soundcheck. I'm like, why does the drummer look familiar? Like, I don't know that many bands from San Francisco, San Jose.
My
But
parents didn't exactly break the mold either. I'm constantly being, are you Sedgwick, or are you, Andrew? I said, no, you are, aren't you? No, I'm not. No.
Sedgwick.
I can't even spell Sedgwick.
okay, sorry. So
Go ahead.
And actually, I had played with Joe back in the day, around the time of Thin White Rope's first album, and we had a band called Blah Blah Blah, and he had better things to do than play.
The band was really called Blah Blah Blah, or did you
Blah
just
Blah
don't want
Blah.
to say
It's
it?
called Blah
The
Blah
band was
Blah.
called
Yeah,
Blah Blah Blah.
was that an Iggy Pop tribute band, or is that just a coincidence?
That was way before that record.
No, we were influenced by the birthday party and the Soft Boys and things of that sort.
Right on.
But I thought I was going like, I want Joe to play with us, and I thought, oh, he won't do it. But then I knew what a Bowie fan he was, and he was talking about that show. I said, well, we could recreate it, with my band, which we've never done. We've never recreated it, but it did get him into my band, which was great. And then and also we had Jeff joined as well.
Nice.
And, yeah.
And that was here in like San Francisco
That was
area?
in San Francisco.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
Yeah.
11, you say? 2011?
Yeah, but the backstory, which maybe these guys don't know about, is the three of us know each other from Davis from 1985.
Oh wow. Okay.
And that was when we saw bands like Thin White Rope. Joe, was in Scott Miller's band. He was in Thin White Rope. He was in the Loud family. So that was our scene.
I was in the least favorite lineups of all of those bands.
I have similar stories myself from bands I've been in too. Like, yeah, I was in that band, but not when they made the record you're talking about. Or yeah, I was in that band, but before this happened or that happened.
Yeah, because Blah Blah Blah's bass player was Fred, who was in Game Theory.
Right.
It was Scott's second.
Yeah.
It was an incredibly incestuous scene in Davis.
Yeah.
Clearly, it is. I looked at the Facebook page for you guys and thought, okay, here's the names of the people in the band, and that's kind of as far as I didn't want to go stalking anyone. Like, well, let me look them up on LinkedIn and Google and everything.
sure.
That's
I'll
stuff
send you
there. I
some
was not
contact
expecting that much of a Sacramento connection.
I
and
created a family tree, which I'll give you the link to.
That would be awesome.
Which is
Several,
online, actually. Yeah.
Several of my friends that I see at shows in Sacramento are still rave about Thin White Rope. It comes up
They were an awfully good band.
at least a handful of times a year. I hear somebody
He's on
go,
all the best records.
The first two records.
No, I
That's
disagree.
nice.
I disagree because I really liked Sackful of Silver and Ruby C a great deal.
yeah.
So I'm not so sure I agree with that.
We can do a whole offshoot conversation. I'll have to grab.
On Sacramento. But
Yeah.
that's
So you
that's
probably
a-
know. Do you know Skid Jones and the Magnolia
I know
Thunderfinger
Skid,
guys?
yeah,
Then
yeah.
okay.
The Go Dog Go guys.
Yeah, Skid and those guys. Skid. So Magnolia Thunderfinger's guitar player GB played in my band briefly, and Skid is actually the guy that convinced me to start doing recording studio stuff as part of
Oh,
this.
really?
I thought about it, like, oh, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. I don't know if I have the time, and I
didn't
took
know
Skid to
you-
lunch.
You're a studio engineer as well.
Kind of part-time, yeah. I have a little project studio space where I edit the podcast and record acoustic bands and rehearse with my band in there. And
Skid's
that
an
sort of
awfully
thing.
nice fellow. I haven't
He
spoken to
is.
him in ages.
He is. He's a real good guy. He moved to West Sacramento a year or two ago, and Go Dog Go actually played the drummer's 50th birthday happened about 6 months ago. Paul.
The guy who was
And
in
they,
the Donuts Man.
So they did a one-off shoot, one show of Go Dog Go at Old Ironsides.
I think I heard about that.
Maybe 6-8
Greg,
months
Greg
ago.
Baxter, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right? GB, oh, yeah,
Yeah,
Greg
GB.
Baxter. I met him back in the day.
Yeah. Okay.
That's Gina's cousin.
It just keeps going.
Yeah.
Very awesome.
GB for us is him.
Yeah.
Because he's JY, but they're both Jeff, so
Right.
we got a GB.
Jeff
Gotcha.
got off.
Cool.
And then we put this band together, and we were all ready to play our first gig, and then like 3 or 4 days before that, we get a call from another person who played keyboards and some guitar in the band, and he said, "Oh, I can't make the gig because of unforeseen stuff," and just kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. And,
Yeah.
so then I said, "Well, who can I call?" So I called Michael McKevitt,
He's right here, this guy.
Yeah,
Hi, Mike.
Mike.
Guy.
Hi, Mike.
And Mike was actually in a band that had played with our Alice Cooper band. I have an Alice Cooper tribute band
Okay.
too with Mike called Malice Cooper, and Mike was in a band called Blowy before I had my group together. But then Blowy broke up, and it was like, yeah.
I still had all the songs in my back pocket as far as
So he
Yeah.
was the only one of
Yeah.
us who was in a Bowie band previously.
Yeah.
Nice.
In a couple of days we had another guitarist. It was
Nice.
wonderful.
Works out well that
And a
way.
keyboardist.
Yeah. And we had a keyboardist.
But that was not him.
And then just finding, replacing members with other members until evolved this.
Yeah.
Has it been kind of a revolving lineup up until
Just
now?
keyboard
and-
players.
Just keyboard players?
Yes, they kept exploding.
Yeah.
That happens. Keyboard players and bass players have a
Yeah.
tendency of rotating in and out a lot in my experience. And,
Picked up in jazz bands or something.
right.
But then the addition
What,
of
2 years
Jameson
now?
on
No,
sax.
but wait a minute, Dre got here first.
I
Yeah,
know,
I
but I was
got
just like
first.
thinking, okay, yeah.
Let's stay chronological.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You're
So how
harshing
long-
my mellow.
What, you been 2.5 years now, Dre? Something like that?
What
2013.
yeah, I came in late 2013, right? Because I was in the Flower Furnace playing with JoJo Razor. She's an imager now. Does Cruise to the Edge and all.
She's great.
Yes, but anyway, so she had suggested that I try out for this particular act. And
Did you know these guys before? Before that?
I didn't know I did.
Oh, yeah, there's...
Turns out Mike and I have a connection
We
in
all have
San
similar-
Francisco going way back to the 90s or
Okay.
something.
But
So,
then I was playing with JoJo Razor in that in the Yes band as well.
oh yeah, that's right. So
It's incestuous.
yeah, very.
Joe and I knew
there
each
are about
other
50
from
Yeah, we knew-
musicians.
known
and
each
we all
other
just
for
keep
years,
trading
too.
projects.
Yeah,
But-
bands. It's scary how incestuous the music scene is and how much it crosses over from one town into another. Like, I'm 120 miles away and there's 3 Sacramento people here. Like, oh, 7 seconds, I'm in my rope.
He's the only one really
So I guess
Sacramento.
yeah. So they brought
But
me in.
Davis,
They
you know,
needed a keyboard player to play. I guess it was a gig at Bimbo's 365 in SF in March of
He
2014.
lasted a couple of gigs. Not really.
So I came in for that.
And we were
And I guess
glad to
Red
have
Devil
you.
right
Yeah.
before that too, and it just sort of worked. So
That's a great room. I love Red Devil Lounge.
So you weren't on that Slims gig when I first saw you guys then?
no, I wasn't
No,
on the
you're
first
not.
Slims gig.
So
It
you
was-
only did a couple gigs before I got there then?
Red Devil Lounge, I think, is the only one I did.
A handful, actually, I think.
Because
One
my
or
first
two.
one was a Bimbo's thing too.
Yeah,
It's hard to keep
so now we're at the part where Jameson comes in.
Yeah, well, I saw the Jean Genies at Slim's. They were playing with the Purple Ones in this charming band, right? And I was with the Purple Ones at Prince Tribute Band at that point. My wife and I were in that band. And, I saw the Genies and loved Bowie, and, I was psyched to see him. And talked to Jeff afterwards, and I said, hey, if you ever need a sub, I'd be more than glad to do it. I love the stuff. And he called me maybe months later, something like that. They had a gig coming up, so I learned
I was floored. He's amazing.
Oh, you're too kind.
Yeah.
He
But
just raised
I
the bar.
did
Yeah,
maybe
he did.
2 or 3
Absolutely.
gigs with them as kind of a side guy, and then they had another gig book, and Jeff calls me and he says, "Listen, we can't meet your price, because when you're a side guy, you can kind of tell them what you want.
Yeah.
And you show up, and they pay you, which is great." And he says, "We're not going to have you on this gig because it doesn't pay much." And I said, "Well, if you made me a part of the band, then I'd take whatever it pays, because that's how I work. If I'm in the band, it's all we're all equal except for that 15% that comes off the top. That's an equal."
And he had all the incriminating evidence that we won't go into.
Yeah. Well, I
He had us over a barrel.
Back,
Okay.
back when they all had those big mustaches, but let's not talk about that. And that was maybe a year and a half, almost 2 years ago at this point. And I have worked with a lot of bands, but I love these guys, and I'm always cautious to not, the sax plays a role in the Bowie music, but it's very specific, and it's, I wouldn't say limited, but it's kind of a small piece of the equation, and that's kind of all I do. So I had to find a way to fit into this footprint without, blowing sax all over everything. You don't want to just jerk off all over the music because that's not what it's there for. So I picked up a lot of percussion, and I get to sing a lot, and I love that. And every now and then I do add a little bit. We'll do a little freak out between me and Mike here, and But I'm very cautious of being true to, or of being respectful, to this body of work.
Is that kind of overall the band policy, if you will, too? If try to play the songs the way they are, or do you guys go
we
too far
learn the
left
stuff
field
and
and
we
stuff?
just
Much, or-
practice
I
it
start
until
in
we
left
get
field and try to make my way to the center.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
try to play exactly what's on the record as much as I can, so it just depends.
Kind of just varies.
Yeah.
I get to pretend to be all of my favorite guitar players.
Yeah.
It's a really good guitar player gig for sure.
I noticed you're playing a Parker. Is that coincidence, or is that because of the Reeve Gabrels?
Yeah, he's a big Musical Bill fan. No.
It suits this one of our sets. I need a guitar that has a whammy bar and single coil pickups or whatever. And I also have a Les Paul for the earlier stuff. And lots of times I'm just grabbing a guitar that has 6 strings on it.
They're
Okay.
all still there.
Yeah, basically. I play in a lot of different bands. So
Oh, do you?
I'm always
Okay.
kinda,
What are the bands you playing in these days?
half a dozen
He's in the
cover
Alice
bands,
Cooper
another
band.
half a dozen original bands,
He's in
all
the Alice
basically
Cooper
San
band.
Francisco.
Okay.
But I'm mostly strings, guitar and bass and banjo and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Okay. I mostly play guitar and bass myself, too. And
So you know what it's like.
Notice
You gotta fill, you have a role to fill.
Yeah.
But to get back to Jameson, we were very lucky to have him because me and Jeff, we were looking for a sax player. We asked people who flaked out, and we had people who hired. We hired for one show, which was sort of okay, so it's always just sort of a thorn in our side. And then he volunteered to play with us, which is like, wow, that's amazing.
Must not know who we are.
Yeah.
Or you must not know who I am.
I knew who you were.
Yeah, well, me and Mike, we ran into each other at Christmas many years
Every
past.
year we'd end up doing
There's a thing over at the Elbow Room
Oh,
called
the,
the Satanic Christmas, put on
Black
by Carla
Christmas?
LaVey and Tom LaVey's daughter.
Oh, really?
Christmas, sorry about that. Yes.
Every
and
Christmas.
it's a chance to get together with a bunch of drunken people and go hail Santa. You know what I mean? So it's fun, and I've been there with the Fuxitos maybe 5-6 times, which originally was a San Francisco-based band, and now it's the leader moved to LA, so he's got a version down there. He's got a version up here. We're going to be on that Green Day thing next month as well.
Oh, right on.
But so we'd run into each other, and then when the Bowie thing came up, we're like, oh, that's right, we're in the Elbow Room, yeah. So yeah,
We're see what you're really
playing with Mongoloid? Is it Mongoloid?
I've done 15 different bands.
Because he's also in the Devo. He was also in the Devo tribute band. They were really good.
Well, I never thought I'd be in a tribute band. As far as like my whole thing, I just looked down like,
5 of them.
And well, the first time I was reluctantly doing it because I didn't want to give up a practice space and stop playing with these guys who had this idea to do it. And just the crowd response was good.
Yeah.
You get
People come out to see you.
Oh, it was kind of And it turns out, it is bread and butter for.
And if you enjoy the music, it's fucking so much fun.
Tribute's not just like a cover band either. You're getting to character.
Yeah.
And you kind of have a focus, and it seems like it's.
We spend some time researching stuff, and it's kind of, for me, it's pretty close to a religious experience. And I'm not playing it personally exactly whatever the drummer is playing at the time, but I really try to do that as much as I can.
Okay.
So I love it. It's perfect.
And people respond to traditional things. They respond to musicianship. They respond to performance.
But they're also comparing what you're doing to what they know. And if they're big Bowie fans, their ears are open and they're really like, are you guys going to do this justice, or are you just up there wanking?
Is that the way the notes go on the guitar solo, and is that
in a way? You've got to insert your own personality into it, because we're not carbon copies of anybody. But we're here to serve the music essentially more than ourselves. I would say.
On that note, do you guys have like an absolute favorite Bowie song that everyone just loves playing live, or a least favorite one that the crowds keep asking for this one?
Probably closer to the least favorite than the favorite together.
We all have least favorite ones. Yeah.
Does anyone want to share? Does anyone want to share? Is that too
No,
self-incriminating?
it's not sure.
We'll keep it a surprise.
Actually, the more I get into Bowie, I actually like all of his material. There's something good to be found in all his songs, even his commercial ones, because there's subversive stuff in the commercial songs. It's like everything is a little off in his own weird way.
Blue Jean?
Even Blue Jean.
You try to find something in the song that you like,
got some
and
groove
then you grab
to it.
onto that.
No,
That's what I like.
It's got some
got a
weird
groove.
chord changes that
I like watching Jeff play that song. He seems so happy.
Yeah, that's why we don't play it. No, honestly, that's just getting into his music, on a musical level. It's just like, okay, it's just sort of interesting.
I'll speak personally, I Space Oddity to me, is probably one of the greatest songs ever written.
Yeah.
And to be, there wasn't sax in it originally, but that's one of the songs I do take my liberties and add some freakiness to it, just in certain places. And it just, we get to the end of it and the notes are just casting off, and it's just,
we put our all into that
you're
song.
out of your
Like,
body,
every
and your
time.
soul
It's
is
really
just
nice.
elated, man. It's like church, it really is.
It's kind of one of our signature.
Yeah.
For me, after joining the band after such a quick, maybe a practice, and then that weekend was the show. I had no idea what I was in store for. Like how, I had known Joe, but I didn't really know anybody else in the band. And so the first time, knew Jeff, but I didn't know him in his Bowie persona
Intimately.
And so the first time I saw him dress up as Bowie and performing as Bowie was at the show, and my jaw hit the ground because he goes all out and just does such a superlative job.
And this is the guy who was in another Bowie band. So.
I've been a Bowie fan my entire life.
Same here. It was I appreciate that a Bowie tribute band was the first tribute band that I've ever seen live. He's been my favorite solo artist since I was in junior high or something, and Depeche Mode is my favorite band. I saw Strangelove the very next night. I see who?
A band called For the Masses.
I haven't seen them yet. I've seen
They're
Strangelove
really
a
good.
couple
They
of
do a
times.
great
Really good,
Yeah.
yeah.
Are they Bay Area based?
They're Bay Area based, but I think that the keyboardist is in Los Angeles, so they do the occasional show.
Okay,
Not to be missed.
I'll have to check that out.
Amazing.
Better than Strange off the record. I'll
I
delete
haven't
the
seen
first one.
Strange Love, so I don't
No?
know, but the
One
singer,
thing-
the singer's right on the money. The
Okay.
samples are lifted
what they got.
right from the original library
Yeah.
that Depeche Mode.
Oh,
Maybe
nice.
I should have seen that.
He's
No,
gonna
he
edit
bought
this.
it though. He bought it
He
off.
bought the
bought
samples
it,
off
yeah,
the
yeah.
guys.
You can say that.
On
Nick's in it. Nick, the drummer for this charming band.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's a connection, with this charming band.
Okay, gotcha. They've been on the two watch list a little while now. I haven't seen this charming band yet.
They're
Wonderful.
phenomenal.
I'll
Yeah.
have to- all right, that'll bump them up on
We've
the.
had the joy of playing with them numerous times.
They're drummer subs for us now.
Nice.
The hardest part of this band is getting a set list. It's eliminating.
Yeah.
the
What
When
are
we
greatest
have a
short
short
Right.
set list,
We can't not
it's
play
so
that.
hard. It's so hard
Not
to put
gonna play
that
Ashes
together.
tonight? What? Because sometimes we get 45-minute opening set, and it's like we get 10 songs, and that's it.
That's why we're so happy about tonight.
How many songs do you guys know? Like rough guess.
40 or 50.
What
40,
about
50?
We had a
Okay.
list. What was it, 40?
It was a
in the
40. I
40s.
mean,
Yeah, it's like 43 that we're
Yeah, some
we can
we
pull out of our
played
pocket at
once,
any
some-
given moment.
We're
Yeah.
picking up
Yeah.
station to station
There's-
now.
We're gonna do
There's more songs than
Candidate,
ever
Sweet
before. The
Thing.
40
Sweet Thing.
is
And the new
better
album,
songs
of
than ever
course.
before.
We're playing one.
You
from
have
the
an album?
tonight.
Oh, the new album. The
new
new
album.
album.
Yeah,
the
the
Bowie album.
You did
Yeah,
one of
this is a
those at
surprise.
Soundtrack tonight, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we'll be playing Lazarus too.
Yeah, that's gonna
Nice.
gonna pull a lot of. I'm gonna cry.
There won't be
I-
a dry eye on stage.
So I bought the record the day it came out, and I take Bowie records seriously. They're sacred for me. So I buy it, turn off the phone, close the lights, turn on the headphones, and
Headphones.
just listen.
Smoke a
And I got through it once, thinking, oh, I'll write a review of this. I'll put a little notepad here in case I want to write a review for the website. I'll probably just want to listen to it though, and I must have had 6 pages of ideas just coming out of my head when I was listening that first time through, and then the next day I got the bad news, and I haven't been able to go back and listen to the record yet. I'm like, I'll get to that eventually, but yeah, that was a rough Monday for me personally when that happened.
Too deep.
Yeah, that was. I took the day off work, called.
even
I had a
2
couple of
weeks now,
clients
right?
said, "There's been a death. I'll deal with you guys on Tuesday." And just like I was a mess and went home and just played my records all day. Went, all right, that's enough, and we go from there. Now that he's passed, are you guys approaching the band differently than you did before, or have the offers coming in been different, or
Oh, you're getting lots of offers.
lots of it's
Yeah.
noticeably jumped up? And
Yeah.
yeah.
More offers,
Are you guys doing
longer
anything
sets.
internally differently with the band, like?
Well, I think that we really have to consider even more that we're offering a service,
Oh, that's a good.
and
a good way to look at
that we have to we have to really consider them, and as you were saying, we have to consider at this point that people are grieving as well.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's but I mean it's I think it's there's always some sort of transcendence. I mean I would certainly say that we try to do things as faithfully as we can, but it's very easy to get caught up in the emotion of these things.
Understandable. Yeah.
And you're always torn between doing the recorded version or one of the many live versions that sometimes those get into the public consciousness more than the recorded ones.
Sure.
Right.
And so, that keeps it fun. You get to make choices.
Yeah.
You get Coke or Pepsi.
Do you guys change the versions of the songs you do like that, or do more of the deep cuts on particular nights for one reason, or mostly
Yeah,
stick to-
we'll tailor a set list to
The crowd.
the
Crowd.
type of place we're playing and basically the time
Yeah.
or who we're playing with.
Right.
And we'd
how
love
long
to do
we're
the deep.
playing.
We love.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you guys written the set list for tonight yet?
Yes.
Yes, we have.
Okay. I have. I don't know if it's on it or not. I won't ask you to divulge anything if you guys like to keep that secret or not. I've got a friend that came with me tonight who's hoping she'll hear Blue Jean at some point. So I'll just do what you will with that information. I won't say anything.
Or did somebody just disparage that song?
Jeff loves it.
Yeah, we'll have to cut that, won't we?
No, we could, but that's another song we can do, like sort of pull out of our hats.
Sure,
You know,
pull that out
we
and
just
do it,
we
yeah.
did-
You can just
we
do
played
it
that numerous times.
for
Yeah.
spur of the moment.
Yeah.
You might be able to do that like towards the end of
For
the
me, it's like really different now though, playing in a. Before, we were doing a tribute to a living artist who seemed to
Sure.
be mostly retired. Yeah, he did some music, made a couple movies. Now he's just kind of build up buzz. Okay, he's going to do one more album and tour it, so we keep his name alive. And now we're kind of like historical archivists.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
For
it
all
is.
the people
I
that
thought
you'll
about
never
that.
get to see Bowie again. And if you love Bowie, you'll like us.
And I still haven't gotten to deal with it because as soon as he died, I became like my neighborhood Bowie grief counselor or something.
I did it
People were
work
like
too.
coming by my house and knocking on my door.
I'm so sorry.
Are you okay? Like,
Yeah.
he wasn't actually my dad or anything. I'm dealing mostly.
So what are you gonna do with the
mostly
band?
I'm exhausted from fielding phone calls every 5 minutes from relatives all over the country and friends that I've ever played with who just wants to make sure I'm okay.
I had a similar phenomenon happen here. I've got probably 12 or 13 framed pictures of him on my walls, and so everyone knew. Like I bought a guitar that was built for Reeve Gabrels, and he never picked it up from the custom shop. So like my friends all know. Like that's the day it happened. My phone was blowing up too. Like, are you okay? And no, but I'll work on it and get there. And it's been a mix of fielding the phone calls and as well as doing my own internal like, okay, I'm like, this really sucks. I have to get over it too, and dealing with that, but also
Well, I'm a big Yes fan, and Chris Squire died back in June.
Yeah.
And I got to gather with a bunch of Yes fans on Cruise to the Edge, which is hosted by Yes. It's a cruise ship of 26 bands. My wife and I have done it twice now. And it was really, I mean, when your own emotions are magnified by other people who feel the same way as you do, I mean, you need to be around each other because nobody understands, except other Yes fans, and in this case, other Bowie fans. So this will be our first gig after his passing, in which everybody will be come together to be together and to mourn publicly, and with all of the joy and sadness that we have. And I think it could be a very profound night. I mean, of course, the fact that we get 2 very long sets too is great, because often we get like 45 minutes.
And we won't disappoint either.
Oh, I don't think we won't disappoint.
We're not going to disappoint because we haven't yet.
How long is the show tonight?
17 hours, I think.
We get 2 75s, right?
We're doing 2 60-minute sets, and then we're going to do and then we plan on doing a number of encores.
Okay.
So we're probably looking at about 3 hours of music.
Yeah, we got about 3 hours of music prepared.
Okay.
There was a recent article that I think I was reading about on Facebook. There were some people that were griping about all the attention that Bowie fans were mourning about, and somebody mentioned that for a lot of people, be it Bowie fans or Glenn Frey fans or whomever, these were our friends in a way, and then they're always there in our head or on our stereo or something like this, and it is a true grieving period for people that just meant so much to us. I mean, these Bowie songs have provided the soundtrack for really trying times in my life. And so, yeah, I'm mourning. And, screw the guys that say, that are doubters about that sort of thing. They were there when I needed them.
That's a perfect way to phrase it, I think.
Yeah.
And some people have that connection with musicians and songs, and some people don't. And the people that have it sometimes really, really have that connection with it, and they're personal heroes or father figures, or they had the right song out at the right time. And I had the really horrible breakup that happened, and the same week song such and such came out, and so you associate the two together, and it helps you get through the process or whatever. And
exactly so.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really super important. I just sounded like a 12-year-old. But
no, not at all. You sound like a diehard music fan that has that kind of reaction to music, and some people do that, and some people don't. And
yeah.
I edit everything, so don't worry too much about.
What you're looking at here, I generally use 2 boards for Jean Genies' show. On the bottom here is recently purchased 2013 King Korg analog modeler, which also has some really nice piano and organ PCMs in it as well.
Nice.
That's really good for the basic piano, organ, and any analog synthesis, modes, profits, things of this nature I can get out of the King Korg. And up top, for more realistic sounding strings, saxophones and such, I have a 1995 Roland XP50, which is the legendary JV 1080 sound engine. All the film soundtracks from the mid to the late 90s.
You said you use that for saxophone sounds too? So there's sax parts you play that Jameson doesn't play?
For example, on Let's Dance,
okay,
he's got the baritone sax out on that, but there's also a bunch of trumpets.
Oh, okay.
And the alto and tenor saxophone parts for those kind of discordant bam ba bam bam ba bam bam. Get them out of here.
Gotcha. Nice.
So that's what I use that for. Now they all go into this little mixer, which is actually. So this is a Zoom R24. It's actually it does 8-track simultaneous recording, but that's what I got it for. But it also makes a really nice little mixer to mix these keyboards together, and it's got a guitar amp modeler in it.
Oh, nice.
So I can just plug into the guitar amp modeler.
Okay.
That's
right. You play guitar in a few things.
Yeah, I play rhythm guitar and keys in this band.
Okay.
So that way it all just goes right in here. It's all mixed together. I can give them one output to go straight into the PA, and we are done with that. No amp, no muss, no fuss, no hassles.
Nice.
And I guess we should do the guitars too.
Sure.
While we're
Let's do the guitars.
Let's see. This is the 1999 Gibson Les Paul Special, I think.
Right on. Is it all stock?
Oh, it's all stock except for the pickups I've had changed. I ordered some stacked humbuckers from Seymour Duncan, custom wound a little bit so that I have a choice of, if I pop this up, pop the knobs up, I got single coil, P90 is standard, and if that's too noisy, I just put it back down and use the dummy coils to cancel out any hum.
Right on.
Fortunately, I haven't had too much trouble with that.
Okay.
So that, and then this is my little oddball that I picked up at, of all places, Subway Guitars in Berkeley is where all the pieces came from.
Nice. And what is this?
This is, let's see, a Warmoth Telecaster body, a 1969 Stratocaster neck that's been cut to look like a Telecaster, but you can tell it's a Strat because it's curved at the bottom. Standard Telecaster bridge, and then a Stratocaster neck pickup.
Okay.
So with a Strat neck pickup and a Strat neck, you can get the David Gilmour one direction and all your Telecaster snarl the other direction.
That's awesome.
I knocked it over and broke the switch at a gig a couple days ago, so I had to take this out. I haven't had a chance to fix it yet. It's just an Esquire now, bridge only.
Do you have, is one of them like a main guitar more than the other one, or you just kind of pick whatever feels right that night? And
When I want the trebly, cutty, edgy, snarly Telecaster sound, I use that one. For things like Look Back in Anger, or things that sound like Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Telecaster, because that's a Telecaster on Immigrant Song.
Yeah.
And then for the mellower tunes, things like if there was guitar on Changes, there is a little bit noodling. I'd noodle with that. Stuck on keyboards.
Nice. Do you use the guitar modeling tones like out of the? Do you have like the guitar modeling on your mixer over there? Do you have like one stock tone that you use for everything, or do you kind of alternate between the different songs and?
Depending on
patch for every song.
Yeah, depending on the song. There's for most of them just a nice, good Fender silver-faced amp crunch tone is fine. And every now and then, like on a song like Fame, it needs a little bit of phaser. So I've got a special tone for that one in there. It's nice having the modeler because you can just program it up, hit the button, and go.
Yeah. And you don't go into an amp at all. You just go straight from that out to the board, or?
Yep.
Nice.
That's it. And then I hear myself in the monitor on the floor.
Okay.
If they don't have monitors for me, I have a little wedge of my own that I bring.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Anything else we should look at? Is that?
Well, that's the end of my rig.
Okay. Nice.
But there we go. Hi, I'm Andrea, and this is my rig.
Very cool. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
All right, we got Mike over here at guitars.
Yes, I keep it very simple because I am lazy.
Okay.
So for convenience, this is Boss Semi-Fix. It's a multi-effects.
Boss Semi-Fix.
And basically, it has a tuner, of distortion, and a wah-wah, and then, delay and whatever I want to use for modulation.
Right.
As far as none of these presets, I have them sound as good as the individual pedals, but you don't have to carry around the individual pedals.
Sure.
And if you look, I have even the bass player has more pedals than I do.
Do you use do you have a different patch for every song, or do you how do you handle going from?
I'm definitely a lot of times is you control kind of the sound with your volume, like how you play, and then if you need like a little more, then you can kind of step on it, and then occasionally I have to bend over and do it. I don't have any presets because again I use it last night for different gigs.
Right. Okay.
But it's all ballpark, and it's all kind of right there. So it's just
so to go from like a Mick Ronson tone to a Reeves tone, it's more due to like whatever guitar you pick up and how you crank the volume. And
so the first set it's all modern stuff. So I'm using the part that has a whammy bar, so I can cover the Reeves Gabriel, the Stevie Ray, the Blue, anything with a whammy bar and single coil pickups.
Right.
And then the Les Paul is for the earlier, the heavier stuff.
Right.
And he gets an amazing amount of sounds out of. So it's just I don't know.
So what are you rocking here?
Les Paul Custom.
Nice.
I think it's a 1971 or 72.
Oh wow! Is that all original?
Yeah.
Very cool.
I'm a huge Mick Ronson fan, and when he died, that was my first time like performing a lot of finally getting out of the bedroom onto the stage with the Ronson stuff.
Yeah.
And
so did you buy this for the Bowie tribute band, or was this you had it before? It's just the Mick Ronson thing, and
it's
then
like, okay, I can an excuse to bring out this guitar basically.
I have my guitar that I
the Reeve Gabrels one that was built for him that I bought. Same thing. I leave it at home for the most part, and then when I played a David Bowie tribute show a couple years ago, I'm like, okay, I'll play it for that, and on occasion for special shows, I'll bring it out. But
This
is your Parker.
So it's a Parker. It's kind of my backup. I have a guitar case that holds 2 guitars that straps on my back. So,
very cool.
Oh, it's so cool. It's a lifesaver. And this is such a lightweight guitar. I just throw it in there, and it's as a backup. I break strings all the time. This guitar sees probably more use than all of my number one.
What kind of strings do you use?
10 through 46.
Do you know what brand?
Either Ernie Ball or Diodario.
Okay, I'm a Diodario guy myself.
I can't tell the difference. They all break.
I've had much. So I played Ernie Ball for a long time. I was kind of in a heavier, not metal band, but a louder band, and even the big, thick, 13 gauge Ernie Balls, I kept snapping them every show. And so I switched to Diodarios, and I still snap them, but it's much, much rarer. And I've had.
I find if I use a heavier pick, a stiffer pick, I go through strings a lot quicker.
Oh yeah.
But I like the immediate response of the heavy pick. So I'll either chew through strings, or I'll just, the strings will last longer, but it'll be a little floppy or sloppy for me. So
I'm kind of the same
balance,
way. Right.
And tonight, this is a great little Marshall. It's a 15-watt studio tube amp. And I put in a neodymium speaker, so I can carry it with one hand. And again, that's how I roll. It's like guitar on my back, amp in my hand, pedal board if I need to, and I'm at the gig itself. I can take a bus, I can even get on my bike and kind of get to the place. So it's all about convenience.
Sure.
But when in a practice route, if I have time to set up, then I'll go all out and I'll use the Les Paul, the wah-wah pedal, the color sound, and the Spacek. And I get the Microns and thing happening.
And you have a rig that does that and everything?
Oh yeah, I've been buying gear all my life. I've been playing for 30 years.
I'm kind of the same way. I just something about gears. It's one of the most fun things to buy and play with.
It was, and when I was accumulating all this, it was not expensive. It was, you can go to a flea market and $5 you can get yourself a wah-wah pedal and stuff like that.
Right.
Or cheap guitars. This guitar I got, I don't know, $500.
Oh wow. Oh man, they're 10 times that now.
Yes, that's a bad thing because you can't replace. If you break one now, it's or if it gets stolen, it's hard to replace.
They've been on my to buy list for a while now. It's like I'd really like to have a nice Gibson Les Paul Custom in the collection, and
I would
can't find one that.
You got to find the one. You got
to find the one, and I found the one on eBay a couple of times, but they've all been the one with $4,000 written next to them. I'm like, probably not the one in that regard. I need to stay for a while longer. And
it is too much, and. Again, you got to pretend to be the the guitar player, the David Bowie guitar players.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of the fun comes in. And I can get away with it using just one type of guitar, and just trying to give it a thin sound or trying to play. So many great guitar players. Go from Ronson again to Ballou,
right?
And you can't really do that without the whammy bar.
Yeah, exactly.
So you need 2 guitars. So these guys are getting a treat. I brought 2 guitars.
Nice. Do you guys do everything in standard tuning?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's again out of just convenience.
Yeah.
Transposing or whatever. It's like I'll just either do it in my head and work it out, play in a different position or something like that.
Are there a lot of Bowie songs that are not in standard tuning?
No, almost all of them are, but every now and then there's one that, in order to get the feel, they speed up the tape, so it's not an E, it's like between E and F.
Oh, okay.
One of those type of deals.
I didn't know that.
And I know Reeves Gabriel used alternate tunings. Like he would do.
He would do things like play guitar solos with a guitar with one string on it and stuff like that, wouldn't he?
And so that's why you got to kind of watch them do it live, and then you see how they can pull it off with one guitar player. And then you look behind the curtain. There's another guitar player, filling in kind of stuff. So you choose your part. What's the part that's going to be either most memorable, the one that you want to hear, or what they would do live. And Dre covers the keyboards and guitar, so it's like she does.
It gives you kind of the freedom to do some more experimenting and.
Yeah, we'll see. When there's definitely spots on the list where it's the songs can extend if we're going to accommodate a costume change or if somebody has to change their gear, you got to let it go, or stretch it out a little bit.
Okay.
And who do we have here?
Nice.
Earl Slick. He played Les Paul on a Strat. band. The 70s were all about the tight funk Carlos Alomar stuff, and that's all Strat stuff, which gets covered by this
Tony Barker. Very nice. Anything else? 57 up for the
No,
bill.
that's it for this gear. I mean,
All right.
I hope I can do the music justice.
I think sure.
Jeff has more pedals than I do, and he's the bass player.
That happens. Pedals are just infinitely fun to play with, and gear is cool. Anyway, all right. Thanks very much, Mike.
Alter Ego.
What is that? Distortion pedal or?
No, it's actually. I like tape echo. That's actually 5 different tape echoes.
The Alter Ego tape.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you have the Roland, you have the Echo Rack. I mean, it's not exactly the same thing, but it's cool. You know, it's even got a Memory Man.
Oh, right on.
Like a Memory Man, emulate Memory Man, Echo Rack, Echoplex. So it's sort of cool for a small box, you know, to give you that sort of tape delay. So,
What do you? What kind of song do you use that on for the
you
bass?
know, Space Oddity, Fame.
Okay,
And
I can hear it now in my head.
Some places here and there, you know.
Right on.
On some of those Ziggy stuff, you might punch it in. So I was using a reverb for a while. That with bass, reverb doesn't quite cut through as much. So you gotta have it. And I actually love tape delay. I don't have one of the old ones. I actually have a Strymon at home. You know.
Those are nice.
Yeah, I mean just the El Capistan, which is the tape, the emulated tape delay. So. But anyway, yeah, so I need to get my pedal board. Do you live in San Jose?
I live in Sacramento.
Oh, okay. So you came down for the show?
I came out for the show,
Okay,
yeah.
that's a far drive.
It is. I had some friends down here and saw you guys were playing, and I'm still kind of
Oh, that's cool.
nerding out / grieving over the whole thing, and thought, oh, there's a Bowie tribute show.
And you
That
saw
sounds
us,
like a lot.
right?
I did. I saw you guys at the
Yeah.
Blue Lamp about a year ago, and up in Sac.
Right.
And,
Because the other band I played there, I guess, is that Cure band that David is
Yeah,
in. I don't know
this
if you know
charming
David.
band.
No, it's the Cure band.
Oh, the Cure Band. Oh, Sort of Like Heaven.
Right, sort of like
Yeah.
having with David, who we met up in Sacramento.
Okay, I haven't seen them yet.
We haven't seen them either, but they play the city. So, but yeah, that was almost a year ago.
Okay. Yeah, it was.
I
I think
actually
about a
played-
year ago exactly, I
And
think.
since then, we played Harlow's. We played Harlow's.
Did you? How did that go?
It was just, you know, so nice.
Is it
It was
okay?
a nice venue, and the turnout wasn't great. You
Yeah.
know, so when was that? It was like April or something. So we
Okay.
played Sacramento again, and yeah, actually, we played Sacramento in 2000. We played Old Ironsides.
Okay, I played there. I love that room.
Right.
I played there a bunch.
That was the only time we did all of Ziggy Stardust. We have not done it since then.
Yeah.
So, you know,
When did you guys play the Ziggy Stardust set at Old Eye? Do you remember offhand? Was that the Bowie
February.
tribute? Okay, this was not. This was recent then.
No,
Okay.
no, 2014.
Okay, not the show I was thinking of. There was a David Bowie birthday show 5, 6, 7 years ago at Old Eye.
Not 5, 6, 7 years.
Okay.
It was like a year ago. Yeah, we played with the Yes band because our
Okay.
drummer's also in the Yes cover band, so they both played.
Okay.
And also the Who band. You know Warren?
I know Warren.
His
Warren's
band
been in my
played.
band.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Warren booked the show and his band played. His
Okay.
Who,
Playing
his
the
Who
bass, right.
band played. You know.
Okay, Whoville.
Whoville
Yeah.
played, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. I didn't realize you guys knew Warren. I was.
He booked that show actually.
Okay.
Because the connection was the bass player of the Yes band, Gary, who they were like big NRBQ fans.
Uh-huh.
So, you
Oh,
know,
okay.
that's the connection. Yeah.
Then I should have. Yeah.
Yeah,
Warren's
yeah.
a diehard NRBQ guy.
Right,
I've heard him
right.
talk about them for years and years.
And I think Warren asked the Yes band to play, and since our drummer's in both bands, you know, he says, okay, well the Bowie band will go as well. So.
Right.
But that was the first time I played Sacramento. Yeah.
Okay.
And I actually have never been to Old Eyes because when we were in Davis, I don't think it was around. So maybe.
I don't know how long it's. I think it's been there a while. I don't know how long they've been doing the live music thing though. It might have just been a bar or a restaurant for a time. I believe it started out as a restaurant, like a daytime just place to get food, and I don't know when they started doing the live music.
Wasn't there
thing.
another place down the street where bands played? It was what's it called?
There's a place called the Fox and Goose.
Right,
It's
Fox
about a
and
block
Goose.
away.
Right.
Yeah, that's still there. They do. Usually it's a little bit on the quieter side musically these days, but like a little more acoustic-ish or kind of small jazz combo things or singer-songwriters, and but they'll occasionally crank it up and have rock bands play there too. And
So you've seen the Loud Family? You haven't seen Thin White Rope?
I had not seen Loud Family or Thin White Rope.
Okay,
No,
you
I
just
grew
know
up
about
in.
them.
I knew about them. I grew up in Vacaville and Fairfield. And,
Right. So did you
so
listen
when
to KDVS?
I sometimes
Yeah,
yeah.
because I worked at KDVS.
Okay.
For a while back, a long time ago.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I'm.
I don't think Joe and Jeff did, but I did.
Okay.
Guy Kaiser worked there, the the guy from Thin White Rose.
Okay, right.
But yeah. So you actually know about him.
Yeah, I knew about Thin White Rose, and like I said, I'm friends with Skid and GB and Anton Barbeau and a lot of the guys from that time frame. Were a little bit before I made my way to Sacramento, but they'll all constantly rave about Thin White Rope Records and
because
Tales of Terror and Pivot and a lot of things from that.
I actually
that time.
saw Tales of Terror once. I think I saw them at the old Clear and Distinct Idea. Did you know Stuart Katz?
I don't think so.
Well, he used to be the punk rock booker. He's like an attorney now, apparently.
Okay.
But he did all
the name sounds familiar now that you said the attorney thing.
Yeah.
I think I've heard people talk about him.
I saw X and the Flesh Eaters in Sacramento. I saw Tales of Terror.
Hold on. There was a Tales of Terror tribute night at Old Ironsides a couple of months ago where other Sacramento musicians got together and played a Tales of Terror set. I think Skid was involved in that. Okay. Don't totally quote me on that, but I think he played part of that set. And maybe 2 months ago or so.
Right. Then there were also the Twinkies, right? Scott was really into the Twinkies. I don't know if you know about the Twinkies.
I don't know about the Twinkies.
You should look them up. They were like a 70s, like weird pop space rock band out of Sacramento. And then there was also what was that other weird prog space band? God, I can't remember. I have the record. There's some weird, interesting, like old Sacramento stuff nobody knows about. The Twinkies people know about now, but you should check them out on YouTube. They were like contemporaries of Scott, and Scott was really into the Twinkies. Yeah. They were like a weird, like, it's hard to describe them. It's sort of like just a Dadaist pop band.
Okay.
With, they had like leasing synthesizers and stuff like that. But because somebody I knew in San Francisco actually released a posthumous CD, like everything they ever put out. So, but and actually, Game Theory did do a Twinkies cover. What was that shit? I can't remember. Yeah, it was it's an interesting time from what I can gather. There was actually a pretty good nightlife from what I remember back then.
Yeah, there've been several people. Do you know Jerry Perry?
I know about him. I never met him, but he used to run a club right down.
He ran the Cattle Club for a long time up there, and had a kind of a newspaper for local music called Live and Kickin' that he ran for a long time. And so I'll hear about that kind of stuff through that crowd a lot. Him and Kevin Seconds mentions them here and there. And,
didn't Jerry book shows at a pizza parlor in Davis or something for a while?
He did. So there's a pizza place in Sacramento called Luigi's Fun Garden, and they had. The building itself had kind of two rooms. There was the main room with the tables and the counter where you could order your pizza, and then off to the side was a side room with a stage, and you could book all ages shows there. And he booked there, and then I believe Luigi's opened a second location in Davis a couple of years ago, and they did all ages shows there for a little while. I'm not sure what happened to the Davis one. I think they closed down. I'm not positive. And then the Sac one changed owners or something, so they've redone a few things. And Jerry still does shows. I don't think he's doing them at Luigi's right now, but he does them he'll book things at Harlow's once in a while. He does his kind of all-star nights. It's Frank Sinatra's, 70th birthday or 80th birthday. Let's have 20 bands play Frank Sinatra songs. He does a lot of that, and he does a lot of, there's a park downtown. They do these Friday afternoon shows from like noon to 2 p.m. Come have lunch out in this park, and there'll be free music, and there'll be a couple of food trucks, and Jerry coordinates a lot of that stuff. And
yeah, I think Joe knows Jerry from the Sacramento days.
Yeah, probably.
Do they have shows at Davis anymore? Or
they do. Campus? Yeah, there's a place called. It used to be called the G Street Pub, and now it's called the G Street Wonder Bar. It's the same room. They've just moved the stage to another wall and remodeled it a little bit. They do shows there.
On campus, do they have like the touring bands come through anymore? Or?
KDVS had an affiliation with a studio. They had like a Live in Studio A thing.
Right. I know, because that used to be the studio in the radio station.
Yeah, so I feel like somebody said they moved it now to a different building, or they're affiliated with a different studio now. Maybe there's a little bit of both. It's been a year and a half since I've looked up that info to try to see if my band could play, so I might have dated.
Do they have like what used to be the coffee house on campus anymore?
I know the building is still there. I haven't heard about any shows in a while.
The building has entirely changed. It's like this big corporate cafeteria now. Whereas when we used to go, there was a small place, and at night they would have shows there. Yeah. And I didn't, but Costello, XTC, Devo, the Ramones, all played there like prior to me going there. So there was a lot of people stopped by there. And that's my girlfriend Rachel. This is Nolan.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
He's doing the podcast on us, and he's from Sacramento. So we're talking about Davis stuff,
Which is all stuff I was not expecting when I got here. I I knew a little bit about the Jean Genies and thought, oh, okay, Bowie band. I'm a huge Bowie fan. Let's go check this out and see if I can get an interview and talk to them. And come to find out, half of these guys have Sacramento connections, and so we spent half the time nerding out about the Cattle Club and Old Ironsides and people, Scott Miller and the Loud Family. And
Are you from Sacramento or Davis too?
I grew up in Vacaville, Fairfield, but I moved to Sacramento about 15 years ago. So when I was starting to go to shows in high school, we were either going to Sacramento to watch shows at the Cattle Club and Old I, or we were driving down to the East Bay and watching things at Berkeley Square and Gilman. And so I kind of got before I got to Sac, I got a pretty decent dose of what was going on up there.
What was that guy? You know, the luthier lives in Vacaville. You know what?
In Vacaville?
Is it Skip?
There's Gordon's in Fairfield.
Oh, I met him once. He lives in some farmhouse.
In Vacaville?
Yeah, or he actually Winters or something like that. I can't remember.
I don't know him. There's Woody that lives out in Sacramento somewhere.
Oh, really?
Woody Boyd.
Okay, I've heard that he sounds familiar, but he's not the guy I'm thinking of. Well, that's too bad because Davis, when I went there, it used to have small, sort of up and coming band shows, and I don't know if they still have that.
I don't know if they do them there or not. There's an underground scene that still does house shows between Sacramento and Davis.
Right, because I think I found a website where they talked about house shows.
Yeah.
Because we had house shows. We saw the Replacements in a house show.
Oh, right on.
We saw the Meat Puppets in a house show. We saw the Violent Femmes in a house show,
Nice.
back in our time. So, they would play the Ivy in San Francisco and then come to Davis and play a house. So, that was a long time ago. So.
Nice. Is there anything else we should look at while we're up here? What kind of? Can you show me your amp real quick?
Sure. It's just an Eden.
This is your main rig for most of your shows?
Yeah, I have a smaller thing for smaller shows, but it sounds pretty good. It's
Traveler 550.
Yeah.
Is this your wireless unit on top too?
No, that's Jeff's wireless. Okay. And this is the bass I use for all the Bowie stuff.
Ernie Ball, Music Man, Stingray on everything, huh?
Which is more the Gail Dorsey bass as opposed to George Murray or what other bass players did he have? I can't remember. I can't think of any.
All I can picture is Gail Dorsey.
Yeah, right. Mark Platty. Actually, Mark Platty played this too, right? It's funny how in those the latest sequences of Ashes to Ashes, Gail Ann doesn't play the slap bass, but Platty does. It's like, what's going on here? Does Gail Ann not want to play slap bass? I'm sure.
I don't think I've ever seen her play slap bass. I've seen her switch between fingers and pick. I've never seen her slap.
I remember that one sequence in the BBC in 2000, whatever, two
something like that.
Yeah, it was Platty playing the parts on Ashes to Ashes, and I think Gail Ann was playing guitar. So
she might have been. She switches once in a while. Yeah, you're right.
For that song, she didn't want it. It's sort of weird. But Bowie had some great bass players. I'm partial more to the, to that Alomar, Dennis Davies, on all those records because those guys are sort of funky. And it's interesting because, I don't know if you've seen that yet, but this just came up today. I saw this video where Visconti actually goes to individual tracks of Heroes and isolates everything.
I haven't seen that yet. Oh, I'll have to look for that.
Yeah, I just saw it today. Visconti's going, here's the drums.
Yeah.
Listen to this Eno part. And you hear this.
Oh, wow.
And listen to this Chamberlain that David is playing. It's just like, it's all mixed in there. And one thing I realized listening to that is how all that stuff is actually countering the funk stuff the rhythm section's doing, and there's this weird tension, because when you isolate the rhythm section, those guys are totally funky, and then you have all this other stuff, and that sort of gets processed or lost, just listening to that. And he actually isolates the vocals, so you can hear him when he sings louder. He hits two other microphones that he has set up, so you hear them actually activating, and there's this weird overdriven reverb.
Oh, wow.
But when he's singing soft, it's just a closed mic, And Visconti said, well, I only had one track, so I had to put it all on one track and use three microphones, the two further away with gates, so that actually it only activated when he sang loud enough. So he actually isolated that track. So I just found that out today. It was sort of a trip.
That's fascinating.
Because for the longest time, I could not hear what Henry Murray? What was the bass player's name? Something Murray. But I could never hear the bass part on Heroes. And when you hear it, it's not what you think it is. It's like, holy shit. And actually, what I thought was the bass part, I think was Carlos Alomar playing a figure. So, the da-na-na-na-na, I think that's Carlos Alomar. You can't really, the bass part's in there, but it's sort of mixed in.
I'll have to go watch this and listen to it again.
I just found it today, yeah.
I love studio videos like that, where they give you behind the scenes tricks of what they did.
It's like the Holy Grail when open the C scrolls, here's it is. You pull up the tracks and stuff like that. And they said, it was, basic tracks was the rhythm section, Alomar and the rhythm section, and Bowie playing keyboard, no guitar player. And then the weirdest thing about, hey, how's it going? The coolest part is one of the Fripp tracks. It is out of control. You don't hear it in the track, but it's processed through Eno, and it is like totally crazy sounding. And you don't hear that on the actual, because Visconti mixed that in. There were 3 different guitar tracks, and one of them was processed through Eno synthesizers, like this crazy, and even Visconti said, yeah, you're not going to get that sound in a pedal. That was his quote,
Nice. Cool. Don't keep you. I think you've got somebody you wanted to talk to over there. Do you mind if I snap a couple pictures of your stuff before I take off? And
no problem.
All right. Hold on. So what do you have? What do we have here?
Well, I play with a band in Berkeley called 10 Ton Chicken.
Okay.
Been with them about 17 years. A rock band, jam quote unquote ish band, and loud electric band. And I kind of got tired of not being able to hear myself, so I invested in this nice amp here, which is an acoustic instrument amp. It's a California Blonde. It's got 2 channels, and I used to run one wet and one dry, so I could, bleed the effect in. And finally, I'm like, whatever. I just use the 1 channel now. But it works very well with the saxophone as long as it's EQ'd. Okay, if you look at the EQ, the bass is way up, mid's down, and no treble at all. Because sax is a very bright instrument, and you got to really darken up the amp, otherwise it's feedback city. So, and then I discovered that playing into a microphone that's on a stand always leads to back problems by the end of the night, because you're always leaning over, and half the time you're missing it anyway. It's kind of hard to see. It's kind of right in your blind spot. So I got a wireless, and I've been playing wireless for quite a while, and I really, really enjoy it. This is actually a brand new system. This is the first time I'm using it, but I had the previous version of this. It's an AMT mic, and it used to come with a Sansom transmitter receiver, and another half space rack just like that. So I just clip that to my bell, which is very easy to switch from horn to horn, because I got the 3 horns here. I got the baritone and the tenor and the alto. I could get away with just baritone and tenor, but you can't do Young Americans on anything but alto. You just can't. So that's the only thing I'm blowing the alto on right now. So the wireless, and then that goes into my pedal board. And again, playing with a rock band, you want to have as much control over your palette as they do, because you look at the guitar players who's got 37 pedals at his feet, and you show up, where do I plug my mic in, it just doesn't quite equip.
I'm one of those guitar players too, so I totally get that side of the equation.
Well, the first thing I got was this kind of digital delay sampler, which I just basically use as a bit of a delay, kind of a fat reverb. It gets anywhere up to 2 seconds of a delay, and you can set, your decay is just a little or a lot. I'm usually on the 500 milliseconds, and then I got play from 500 to about a second or so. And so that's one of my main things for just fattening up the sound. But the chain actually goes first into the envelope filter, and then I've got an EQ, because the Barry often needs a little bit of a boost. It doesn't project quite as much as the alto or tenor, so I'm going to play in the Barry instead of assuming that the sound guy will write a fader, because often they've got other stuff to worry about, and they don't care that I'm switching horns. So I just pop that on, give it a little more. And then that goes into here, and this is my, I use this as a pitch shifter, and it'll give me 2 voices out for 1 in. And I usually just set it for an octave down.
So like a harmony of you play an A and it plays the C sharp below it or something?
Exactly. Well, in this way I just take an octave down. Sometimes I'll take it a minor third up as well, or a major third up, and get a nice fat chord. I do that on a Crimson tune called Red with the jam band there.
Do you use that on the Bowie tracks too?
I use, if anything, just the octave down, just to fatten it up. I'll do that on some of the section work, like Modern Love. You got a nice fat section sound. It's not dynamic or intelligent, meaning if you set it on a major third, everything's a major third. It's not going to, it'll give you that interval, and it doesn't correspond to the key you're necessarily playing in. So it's not as ideal as it could be. They have newer models which you can program that stuff, but I'm an analog guy, as you can see, and that's fine. So usually just an octave on that, and then into the delay, and then I've got this nice Leslie emulator here, which you can see That's basically your two rotors there, your high and your low. And I'll use that on Space Oddity anytime I want to kind of emulate an organ. It's just a nice effect that I can bleed in and out, on and off. And then I got a loop station here, and I'll create loops on the fly. I'm going to do that on Lazarus tonight. We're doing Lazarus, which is, we've played it twice, but it sounds great. So I grab a 4-bar loop, and then I play over top of that because there's 2 horns in there. And then that just gets sent back into the amp, and they run a line out of the amp. And so I've got that behind me, and I usually get myself nice and hot in the front, and it keeps the sound on stage down. And with wireless, I can run all over, and I'm not going to really hear myself in the other monitors as well as I do in my own, but that's okay. You get out and blow. So like at the end of changes, that beautiful, just to 4-bar code in there is gorgeous, and I'll head out there for that. Or we'll do the Fame bit together, and Jeff and I will jump onto that. But I love it, and I also love blowing the percussion. So my big 4, the tambourine, and I've discovered that tambourine will beat the crap out of your hand.
Yeah.
So I use a stick. I use one of these hot rods that my wife's a drummer. She plays with the Killer Queens, a Queen tribute band.
Okay.
And so whenever these go to hell, she'll pass them on to me, which is great. So that's number 1, and of course shaker. Got to get some shakers happening. It's always a good one. And then of course I'm cowbell boy now and again. Great sounding cowbell there. And this is one of my favorites here. This is, I call the Tydeco. It's just like a washboard tie. I got this at a percussion store in Bend or Eugene, touring with the Chicken back in the early 2000s. Some we just stopped and. So I use this on Men Who Sold the World, and then I alter the shakers to some of the sections, and then back to the. So it gives that a nice little exotic flavor,
Nice.
And that's about it. I try to sing on key, and otherwise it's just to me, I'm the gravy in this band, because the band is great and it doesn't really need a 6th guy, but I'm delighted that they want me to be here, and
Looks like you're using a Shure SM81, if I'm not mistaken.
that's not mine. That's actually the house's.
Okay.
Usually I don't even bother with the percussion mic because I'll just shake it into my vocal mic.
The mic said that's strictly for percussion.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I use the iPad just for the Sanborn solo on Young Americans, just because I want to do it well and I don't want to fake it. So I got my chart there. Okay. And then when I don't need it, these I don't need the rest of these anymore. But this is when we're learning fashion and TVC, I've got all my vocal parts there, so I can see what's going on with all that. And tonight we're doing Lazarus, so I still got a chart on that.
Sure.
So
New song.
just learned that. In fact, I made that this morning. So.
Did you make that chart?
Yeah, I make all my charts.
What software do you use to do that?
I use Sibelius.
Is that an iPad thing or a?
No, it's good industry standard software.
Okay.
That and Finale are like the big 2.
Finale is one I
use,
knew.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I used Finale for years, but it wasn't very intuitive. It wasn't very user friendly. And then I got Sibelius. It was like everything makes sense. Use your number pad for your values. So 4 is a whole note, 3 is an eighth, 2 is a 16th, 2 is a half, and 6, or 5 is a half, and 6 is a whole. So you go 6 and you type 8 and you got a whole note right there. And the copy and paste function is really good. I do a lot of arranging. I run a kids group called Winds Across the Bay, which is a youth wind ensemble. And I got like a group of kids who've only been playing about a year, and then I got a middle school level, and I got a high school level. We had our concert last night over at the Leisure Center in Walnut Creek. So it's a big to-do, we only do 2 a year. And I did an arrangement of the Game of Thrones theme, and I had all 3 groups playing together and pounding on percussion. It was pretty epic.
Nice.
So, yeah, but I mean, I'll do all that and, print out the charts at home. And, I've never sold any of them, but I don't really care. I mean, I've done probably 50 arrangements over the years. I was teaching school band for like 16 years.
Is that what you do?
I did until this summer. Yeah,
Okay.
I got back into the workforce. I'm working for my friend's accounting firm now.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I still run the nonprofit, and I gig all the time. I work on 7, 8, 10 bands, something like that.
Nice. Right on.
So there
Thanks
we go.
very much,
Hey,
James.
man, no
This has
trouble.
been awesome.
I'm glad you're interested.
I am. I'm completely interested in this. I could talk about gear and
Well,
music nerd stuff with people all night long.
I'll tell you one more thing before we
All right.
go.
Yeah,
It's
hit me.
My sax trio here. Now this horn here, this is it's a Selmer Mark 6. So if you know anything about saxes, that's kind of like the holy grail of horns, according to many, So these were made up until about the 70s, and then they made other models and they tried to improve, but they never really did, from the 50s through the 70s. So my dad bought me this horn when I was 14 in 1978 on October the 18th. And I only know that because when my dad passed in 2007, my brothers and I are at his house in Florida, and we're going through all his effects and cleaning up everything. And, you know, he's got shoe boxes full of Arby's coupons and receipts and shit in the closet, you know what I mean? And I'm going through it like, crap, what's this? And it was the receipt for my horn that he bought from Seder School of Music in Woodbury, New Jersey. We were South Jersey people. And, you know, he paid $1,400 plus $70 cash, and that's a lot of money in '78.
Yeah, really.
But, you know, I studied private sax lessons from like '77 through about '81 or so 80. Yeah, I guess that's right. And my teacher said to my dad one day, he said, you know, if you get this kid a good horn, he might become a good player. And my dad said right away, tell me what to get. So the next week I got there and he had 3 Selmer 6 horns, all brand new. Boom, boom, boom. And I tried them all and I said, I want the one in the middle. He says, yeah, that's the best one too. I was wondering if you would realize that. So I got that horn at 14, you know, and I played it ever since and become a, you know, pretty strong player. I play classically well and I read very well, and I do, you know, everything from polka to metal. I play in a metal band called Mirthcon, which you should check out. So, you know, big fan of the Selmer 6s. When Carla's, my wife's father, died in 2005, we got some money and I wanted to upgrade my tenor, so I got my Selmer 6 tenor. And then when my dad died a couple years later, got a little more money and I got my Selmer 6 Barry with the extra note. This one goes to 11. You know what I'm saying? This, if you look at the bell in comparison to the other ones, it looks a little out of proportion because it actually comes up an extra note.
Okay.
They make the horn without that extra note and the bell comes up to about here. So you can see that would be the same proportion as the other two. But this has got what we call the low A. It's low A on the horn, which is constant C because the E flat saxes are a minor third beneath constant pitch. But, you know, that extra note, it gets me gigs, man. It's like I get a call, hey, you available Saturday? Yeah, you got a low A horn? Yep, got it, great, you're on. You know, so that's my goes to 11 horn. And I love them, man. I mean, I'm not a real gearhead because I've never, you know, had a whole lot of money to throw around. And I get what I get and I work with it. But, you know, I realized one day I wanted to upgrade my tenor and my Barry and get matching sets, so to speak. So
You fake not being a gearhead better than anyone I've ever seen. You got 3 horns up here and an amp and like
I'm a poor ass
you have
guy
more
who
guitar
wants
pedals than your guitar player does.
Well, see, Mike knows what. Mike will get, you know, he'll throw that and 2 guitars over his shoulder, and he'll go out and he'll do 3 rehearsals and 3 gigs in a day. Yeah. And he's just going from place to place, and he says it's got everything he needs, you know, and he knows how to handle it. I do have one of those that I fooled around with a little while, but, you know, I like knowing that this pedal does this, and you don't have to worry about the pre-programs and everything. And
I like everything that lights up and makes sound, and I've got some of the processors, and I've got a bunch of pedals, and I'm leaning more towards this stuff lately for live shows. It's easier to reach down and turn the one knob, but I know, there's the delay. I can turn the up or down, and then if the delay breaks,
and you know know how to work it too, and you know what's going to happen. Well, I had this same pedal, and it crapped out, so I went to the one in Santa Rosa, maybe Tall Toad or something like that. It's just off of the 29, I think. Maybe Santa Rosa, maybe Napa, somewhere up north. And I walked in and I said, here's the deal. I've got this pedal, you know, and it's an old one. It's a Digitech. It's a digital sampler, and, you know, I love the way it worked, and it crapped out. Do you have anything similar to that, you know, analog, old school? And they're like, we have that exact same pedal. And, you know, I got it for like $120. I'm like, score. Perfect. So, yeah, exactly. If I had my druthers, that's what I would want, and I got it. So I'm very happy with that.
Nice.
And every now and then, you know, the guitarist or the bassist or the chicken will throw me a pedal. They're like, hey, try this bass wah pedal, see how it works. But, you know, this has been pretty tried and true, and, you know, I know what I can get. The only thing I really would like to have is a nice fat distortion, but usually once you're overdriving, you're going to run into feedback with an acoustic instrument, you know, so you got to keep it fairly soft. You can't get a whole lot of gain out of that, but who knows?
Nice. This is by far the most elaborate saxophone rig I've ever seen. I was not expecting to come up here.
Do you know the guy named Skerrick out of Seattle? He used to have a group called Critters Buggin', and he's just all over the place. Well, he's a friend of a friend, and I went to see him one day, and he was doing that. He was tricking out all these stomp boxes, and I'm like, this was probably 12, 15 years ago I saw him. I'm like, there's the future right there, you know? Get you a wireless, run it through a guitar rig, and now you can compete, you know? Right. Instead of, can I get more sax in the monitor? It's like, get it up yourself, man. Bring your own amp on stage. I won't bring this if we're only doing like a 45 set. You know, we need to have a good solid night because when you're opening, it's like it's not about you. Get on stage, do your best, get off, and hopefully it'll be hot enough in the monitor that you'll be okay. But
Do you still bring the wireless when you do that?
oh
Just
yeah,
run
the wireless I won't play without
Okay.
it. I mean, every now and then I'll get the sound guy who's like, "You're getting a lot of noise, or your signal's not hot enough, and can I put you on a stand?" And I'll just say no. Listen, man, you can always pull the "I have back problems" card, which isn't completely true, but I will have back problems if I have to lean into a mic stand and play like that all night. So, it couldn't be better and really easy. I mean, this weighs, I don't know, 7-8 ounces or so, and it's not really throwing off the balance of the horn at all. You don't even feel it after a minute anyway. So, but these are great. These are what Brecker used the AMT, and that's how I first saw of it. I'm a Brecker fan. Not a Brecker emulator. I mean, I don't have that kind of vocabulary. I'm much more of a kind of pocket R&B-ish rock and roll guy. I mean, I play a little jazz, and I can fake my way through a lot of it, but I don't really consider that my strength. My vocabulary is very limited. But it's cool. I mean, I know what I can do, and I can hang for the most part.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're
Nathan.
very
This has
welcome.
been-
Right on. Well,
this
you're
has
going to
been
stick
awesome.
around, right?
Oh yeah, we're sticking around watching the show. I've got a couple of friends that came out. We're gonna hang out and watch the whole thing and enjoy the night. And I'm gonna snap a few pictures of your stuff and get off the
Excellent.
stage and let you guys do your thing.
Well, we'll check in with you at set break. We'll see how we're sounding.
All right, sounds good. Thanks
Okay.
very much.
You're very welcome.